welcome to South Asian Overground, and I am here with Isha. No, I'm joking.
I want you to keep that in now.
I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
Definitely, I'm keeping it.
Oh my word.
I'm here with Preet Singh. Hello.
He's going to love that as well.
He is going to love that. So, for context, Ishan is a comedian I had on the podcast last season who was good friends with Preet. And
I'd never say good friends. We border on enemies at times.
Perfect. Who's enemies with Preet,
Yeah.
and I just called him by his enemy's name on purpose because I almost accidentally, before called you Ishan. Anyway, Preet is a stand-up comedian. He is a writer, podcaster, and radio presenter. All of the good things.
There's so many lies in that.
He's a liar.
I always think people I do these things and people always introduce me in like certain ways and stuff, and I'm always just like, no, I'm not.
What are you?
I just chat shit.
I just
Like,
chat shit for a living.
Like, a radio presenter, no. Like
No.
they just gave me a radio show and I did some nonsense.
Yeah.
I've never picked up any skills. I've never learned anything.
So when people ask you like, oh, what do you do, Preet? What do you say?
I always just go with comedian.
Yeah.
I think, comedy is the only thing that I think is something that I will accept the comedian label. Everything else, they've just given it to a comedian. Yeah. You're so professional. This whole setup is so professional. I've done 2 seasons of my podcast.
Yeah.
Never once has there been a sound person.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm such a big deal.
Yeah, I mean, the people behind the camera are the big deal.
Get lost. Yeah, well, I'm just trying to, take it up a notch. Give us South Asians more glory than we already have, and we need glory.
We do not deserve any glory.
We deserve so much glory.
After the couple of years we've had, right, we deserve the National Front to come back. After Rishi Sunak, Sajid Javid, Preet. No, fuck it. Bring back the racists. We need a ceiling.
Oh my God.
We need a ceiling. I'm telling you now, we need a ceiling. That ceiling needs to come back.
And you know what we need? We need more Sikhs with knives in East London, as you said in one of your comedy sets, which I literally love.
So I'm working on a bit now, and it's a thought that I had, right? So if you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'm 28.
You're 28.
But I look 25, definitely.
Okay, cool. We'll roll with that. I won't say it's your podcast. I won't say anything disparaging. But anyway,
say it. Go on.
No, I'm just saying. Let's move on, Auntie. Come on, like let's.
Very good. Very good.
Do you know what it is? The observation I had was, so I'm 29. I turn 30 next month, and I'm old enough to remember in the early 2000s to like 2012, 2015.
Yeah.
We were all terrorists.
Yes, we were.
And I was fine with that label.
Being a terrorist?
Absolutely fine. Because people are scared of terrorists.
That's
now
so
we're
true.
just Tory pricks.
That's so true. I guess I'd rather be a terrorist. It's a bit cooler.
God, yeah. 100%.
That's really bad that I
you got people. You got MI5 following you around.
Yeah, true.
You walk onto a tube, it clears out. Lovely.
No one wants to sit next to you.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Now all I get is people are like, oh, so you live in Clapham, innit? And I'm like, no, I'm not one of those people.
Oh,
yet.
I don't like Clapham. It's not for me.
It's just like, oh, mate, like, oh, you're one of us now. No, fuck off, Barnaby. We're not. Like, stop that.
I get you, but also like the only thing with being thought of as a terrorist is like the airports. My dad in the airport, anytime we go to America, guaranteed we're going to be there for a while.
I used to do a joke about it as well, and it's one of 2 jokes that I took out, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't think that's true. The only place I get shit is when I'm going to India.
What?
Yeah. They don't like Sikhs at airports in India.
Really?
Oh, mate, it's
But there's
terrible.
so many Sikhs in India.
Oh, we could get into the geopolitics of that region nicely. Obviously, like there's a separatist movement out there, innit?
Yeah.
So it's like I get a load of shit in India. I'm so nervous going to like airports and stuff in India. And for some reason, any party destination, I'm the only one that gets drug swabs on my bags.
Really?
I've never once done drugs. I've
Liar.
I promise you, no party drugs ever. I've smoked weed.
Xanax?
Huh?
Xanax?
No.
No Xanax.
No Xanax, no antidepressants, nothing. I don't even take paracetamol, right? My mate, genuinely, and I probably shouldn't be saying this, my mate did every drug you could think of in Barcelona, right? Showed up to the airport high as anything.
Right.
Walked straight through, right? Me, I get stopped. They swabbed my bags down. They made me open up everything. And I don't think it has anything to do with like race or anything. I think I just look like a pillhead.
I don't think you do.
But I think that's no. Okay.
I don't think people think brown people do hard drugs. They do.
I can promise you. So I used to work as a bouncer as well. I worked as a bouncer for 5 years. I have seen more Slough rude boys pinging in Windsor than like your like it's mental. There'll be a full on uncle and auntie on like a night out, clearly come back from a wedding.
Yeah.
Go to Windsor. It used to be a Liquid. Go to Windsor Liquid, full wedding get up, pinging off their tits.
Really?
Yeah, auntie's over there about to get fingered. Like it's crazy. I swear, there's things you see as a bouncer, right? It's mental.
It must be amazing content for like your stand-up gigs, like being a bouncer.
Yeah, I've got like a few good stories off of that. I used to also, so I say bouncer. I also used to work at security at my local ASDA, right? And it's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? We're all hard as shit. And we're not. There used to be a Lithuanian woman that used to come in every Christmas. So she was a well-known like thief.
Yeah.
In the area. And she used to come in every Christmas in a full burqa.
A Lithuanian woman?
Yeah,
right.
A Lithuanian woman.
Sure.
She's not Muslim, but she used to come in a full burqa.
Yeah.
Right? And sneak Christmas turkeys under the burqa.
No, you're joking.
I swear to you, if there's any security guys that work retail, I promise you, burqas are the perfect disguise.
Oh my God, I'm Muslim. I should maybe start doing that. But I don't rob things. I don't rob things because I'm convinced about karma. Like, I'm already having a hard time enough as it is. I don't need more karma.
Oh,
bad karma.
Asians. What's this podcast called again? South Asian
Overground.
Overground.
South Asian Overground.
The South Asians have a bigger footprint in the underworld and shit than you'd think. So many of them are like professional shoplifers.
Really?
I caught my mum's friend shoplifting. Yeah, because I worked at my local ASDA. Bro, I was just like,
what did you do?
I was like, this is gonna make the next wedding mad awkward, isn't it?
So awkward. What was she shoplifting?
Groceries.
Just like
nothing even like
tomatoes,
impressive. That was half
a cucumber.
That was half of the fucking embarrassment. I was like, at least shoplift properly.
Yeah.
Like, I'll teach you how to do it. Come in a burqa, Christmas turkey, like ban.
Did she take this lady that came in the burqa? Was it like a few Christmas turkeys? Was it one Christmas turkey?
It was one. Because
I suppose you can make it look like you're pregnant.
Yeah, it was one Christmas turkey and razors.
And razors.
Yeah, people still raise it. People love stealing razors, man.
Really?
I don't. Obviously, I don't shave, innit? So it's like I never realised how expensive razors
are.
Yeah.
And also, my friend recently, he like exclusively robs mayonnaise from Waitrose.
Why mayonnaise?
Because he like really likes mayonnaise, and he really thinks Waitrose are fuck Waitrose wankers. So I don't really, then he robs it.
What's his name and address? Let's get him locked up because I feel like that is the most shameful thing I've ever heard. I rob Waitrose for mayonnaise. It's not even a good condiment.
I know. I was at his house the other day and his brother brought out the mayonnaise. He was like, "Oh shit, I robbed the light one by mistake." The light mayonnaise.
Okay, this family needs therapy, bro. Like, like, which camera am I on, right? You, mate. I don't know your name, right? You're disgusting. Like, grow up. Shoplift properly.
He is
right?
disgusting.
That's an ick. Imagine you go on a date with a guy and he doesn't even shoplift properly.
I actually have dated him.
Oh man, I'm not signing that release form now. That is, if I went on a girl, went on a date with a girl and she was like, yeah, my ex used to shoplift mayonnaise, I would go to the STI clinic.
Oh my God.
Like have some standards, bro. Like, what are you doing?
He's fit.
I don't care how fit he is, right? If Margot Robbie told me that she stole English mustard from Waitrose.
Oh, you're a liar. Like, literally, you would so still get with her.
Yeah, but that's like Margot Robbie, innit?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. This guy, anyway. So, we have...
No, but seriously, fuck that guy. Like, I don't want to move off. Like, can we just agree, fuck that guy?
Yeah, definitely.
Right,
no,
cool.
He's pissed me off anyway, so it's in the bin. All right, so I've got an initial question for you.
Go on.
Where are you from?
Like one of them royalists.
Controversial. No, this is actually a question I ask every single guest.
It's fine, you're brown, you can do it.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that with black people a lot.
Do you?
Yeah, like if they're like Nigerian, I get really deep into it. And I know I offended a comedian once, recently as well. He was like, oh, my family's from Nigeria. I was like, what tribe? And I realised, oh, I'm a terrible human being.
Yeah.
Because I was like, the only reason I asked him for that was I had no follow-up to that. I just wanted to sound like I knew about the culture. And I do,
sure.
like, a little bit. But if he was like, oh, I'm from, like, I don't know, Igbo, yeah. I'd be like, cool. Like, I had no follow-up. And then And I realised, oh, maybe we need to cut white people a break.
Yeah.
But going back to your question, so I was born and raised here, but I'm Punjabi.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have told my agent this about, like, when I got booked for this.
Yeah.
It was a lot of people, like, call me Indian. I hate that label.
Yeah.
So, I'm Punjabi. Quite in touch with the roots as well. So we used to go, when we were kids, we used to go a fair bit.
Mm-hmm.
Speak Punjabi fluently, quite attached to the culture and stuff as well. How about you? Wait, I didn't ask this.
I am, so, interesting. Very. I am half English, half Indian, but Muslim Indian.
Yeah.
But I'm from Manchester. I'm third generation.
You're third generation?
Yeah, I'm third generation.
That explains the white.
Don't! You think I look really white?
No, it's the exact opposite. Either you're fake tanning or you got all of the dark genes from your dad. Like, I promise you.
I'm not fake tanning.
Is your dad the Asian one?
Yes.
I fucking knew it. I get that sense as well.
Thank you so much. That makes me really happy because I feel weird when I'm not brown. Like, this is also why I wanted to do this podcast, because I felt like really disconnected from my brownness. And me and my dad went to India recently and, like, did a bit of, like, you know, tracing our roots back, because my dad's mum and dad is from Uttar Pradesh. So we went there.
So you think you and your dad went to go trace your roots? That was actually the white in you wanting to explore. Oh. Hey, I want to get back in touch with my roots. Yes, oh my God, it's a gap year. Yeah. Like, it's just an authentic gap year.
Yeah, super authentic gap year. Yeah. But I was really, like, surprised when I went, because my dad started speaking, like, Urdu and Hindi, and I was like...
So do you not speak either language?
I can count to 10 in Urdu.
So no. That's I like how you were trying to justify it. I was like, do you speak the language? Like, I could count to 10, bruv.
10. Also, can I just say, I recently dated a Sikh man who's from Punjab.
Oh, controversial. Nice, we like this.
He was a maniac.
What? You want an apology on behalf of all my people? Is that why you brought me on here?
Yeah. And I almost ran over him 2 days ago when he was skateboarding down the street.
So it sounds like he wasn't the problem. Like, I'll be like, what? You were like, he was crazy. Yeah. Like, I nearly had to run him over. Like, what? Hold up.
Yeah, I used to think he was going to murder me with an axe.
Okay, let's go back a step. Right? Okay,
it's becoming a podcast about me now.
I know, Jesus, this is
my dating life.
Like, this is a therapy session now.
Yeah.
So you, okay, I don't even think I want to touch this.
That wasn't because he was Sikh. That was because he's mental.
Thank you for clarifying. Again, my people appreciate the clarity.
Like, not all Muslims are terrorists.
How are those two things linked? You know, that's not a stereotype with, like, see, at least the Muslim thing's a stereotype, right? Yeah. Nobody once has been like, oh, see, people are maniacs. Nobody once has said that.
They all carry
You're
knives.
Creating that on this podcast
You said they all carry knives.
No, I mean, it's within the religion to carry a knife.
Okay.
Yeah. So what are you saying about that?
Okay, let's move on.
Yeah, there you go. The sole reason I've come onto this podcast is to get you cancelled. I want less competition for my podcast. You should have heard the stuff she was saying about gay people off camera, bro. Like, it was wild.
Guys.
I was just like, relax, bro. Like, chill. You gotta, like, relax. They're just people. You should like, no, fuck
I can't with you. I feel like I'm, like, on stage at one of your stand-up gigs and you pick me from the front of the audience and you're rinsing me.
Oh, mate, it gets a lot worse at the gigs. I actually went to a gay club in Manchester recently.
Yeah.
After a gig. So I was at Frog and Bucket up there. Lovely club. If anybody's from Manchester, you should go. And
I'm from Manchester. I'll go.
Oh yeah, wicked. One of my, like, favourite clubs. And then afterwards, like, me and a few people were just, oh, should we go out? And I was like, where's good to go out? And they were like, oh. I was like, majority white people, and they were like, oh. And I was like, what?
Wow.
And they were like, oh, the best place is, like, it's a gay club, and you probably. I was like, yeah, let's go. And they were like, oh, okay. Like, they were just expecting me to be like, no, bro, like, I ain't fucking doing nothing with the.
Yeah.
Bro, I went in there. I felt like a celebrity.
Really?
I was the only brown dude in there.
And was everyone like, oh my God?
I also got, somebody said the most hurtful thing to me in the gay club. It was GAY, Manchester.
Yeah.
Somebody comes up to me. He goes, can I buy you a drink? I was like, yeah, of course, bro. I was like, this is great. Buy me a drink. Buys me the drink, and he goes, yeah, I can tell you're straight. You're painfully straight. I was like, what? What gave me away? And he goes, you walk from the knees, not the hips.
What? From the knees? Oh, so you're not like strutting like this?
I spent it ruined my whole fucking night. I was like, I need to blend in, bro.
Were you walking from the hips then?
At the end of the night, I was walking like a belly dancer.
Amazing.
Like, just to try and get some attention.
From the knees? Like, what's that even mean?
Knees. It's weird he picked that out as well, because I do actually have dodgy knees.
Do you?
Yeah.
I've got historically weak ankles.
Okay, go on. How did you find that out?
I sprain them like probably every other week.
Okay, yeah, that sounds quite
historically weak.
Yeah.
So you kind of touched on this before, but how connected to your South Asianness do you feel, and in what ways?
It's hard because I always say that I'm very. So the label I prescribe to is British Punjabi.
Yeah.
And I think I'm probably more Punjabi than British.
Yeah.
I think, but it's a close split. Because I speak the language, cook the food, really into like the folklore side of stuff as well. But when I go to Punjab, I feel white as fuck.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a horrible feeling because here you spend like so much of your identity, and then you go over there. Oh, bro, I'm so fluent in Punjabi. I'm so fluent. And you go there, and they're taking a piss out of the accent you speak Punjabi with, and you're like, wait, no.
It's good.
Yeah, and then it's like they'll just be eating from food vendors, and I'm like, no, bro, I've had diarrhea for 4 days. Like, I can't.
Yeah, and then you're like, and then they're like, you're white, hun.
Yeah,
you are white.
Yeah, exactly. And if you can't drink water from the tap, they're like, oh, you fucking pussy.
So is it kind of like a weird feeling of then like not like here you don't really know that you fit in, there you don't really know you fit in, or you just like it's not that deep?
Oh, it's a hard one. I think majority of the time I will say it's not that deep.
Yeah.
Because I think you can overthink these things, and it's just different shades of like Punjabi or brown or whatever. Mm-hmm. And there's no like, the cutoff point is Rishi Sunak.
Yeah.
Rishi Sunak, I will use an ethnic slur to describe Rishi Sunak. He's a coconut, right? I know I said it. Ishan gets really mad at me for saying calling people coconuts, but it's true. That's the cutoff point. Anything this side of Rishi Sunak, I think you're brown. What? And it's just a different shade of brown.
Which side of Rishi Sunak?
Like the browner side.
Okay, sure, got it. Thanks.
He's the cutoff point, but it's a tricky one because it's like, how much can you prescribe to like an identity and still maintain your like uniqueness?
Yeah, exactly, because it's we're not all like in one category. You know, and that's the thing when you were saying when people call you Indian, you're like, what? Just because like I'm a brown person doesn't mean I'm Indian. There are other kinds of brown people, you know.
Like I joke about it and stuff, but I think it's a big thing. It's like your value as a brown person or an ethnic person is prescribed by the most famous brown person you have. So that joke I was talking about, like we went from being terrorists to Tories.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yes, so true.
Yeah, it's like so. The most famous brown person for the last like 15, 20 years was Bin Laden. So it's like, you're all tarred with the same brush.
Yeah.
And now it's like, Rishi Sunak. So it's like, that's who you are now. That is
such a good point. I've actually never thought about it like that. But very good point.
It's fascinating to me. Because it's like, people genuinely at work, somebody congratulated me.
What?
When Rishi Sunak became Prime Minister.
No.
Somebody came up to me and was just like, oh, well done. For what, bro?
What did you say?
I was stunned because I didn't know. I thought they might have been at a gig or something. And I was just like, oh, thanks. And they were like, yeah.
Rishi Sunak, man. What?
Yeah, Rishi Sunak. They were like, your people have made it. I was just like, this is phenomenal. I was just like, I can't believe people think that way.
Yeah.
So I think you can prescribe your cultural identity to an ethnic group and stuff and claim membership of that group. But I think it's very important to still maintain your uniqueness.
Oh, 100%. And you're unique, babes. So am I. So are we all.
I don't think that's like being called a character. Like I think you just called me a cunt. Like,
I didn't.
Like there was something in your eyes where you were just like, yeah, you unique, bro. I
think I was being like ironic or like I don't know what I was doing. But before we move into talking about comedy, even though I think we've had some comedy already, A question I also ask all my guests is, and this is not me assuming that you have children or you want children or that you care for children, but hypothetically speaking,
Get
if you
that
were to have kids,
disclaimer out of the way first,
yeah,
innit? Yeah.
if you were to have kids, what is the main element of your culture / heritage that you'd want to pass on to them?
I think the most essential is language.
Yeah.
Because that's like point A of maintaining in touch with your culture, because if you've got that language and you could communicate with people and like literature and art through that language, then I think you've always got a chance to like grow closer.
Yeah,
if you
100%.
don't have that language, you'll always be an outsider.
Yeah, and I definitely feel that, like, for sure. And like I think I felt that most when I was in India with my dad and he was like speaking the language, and then I was just like oh, I'm not included in this. Not even in a bad way, but just like, like I was really buzzing for him because I was like, oh, this is great. But I felt it. So yeah, I think that's a really good one. So comedy.
Right, yeah.
You're a funny guy.
Like
How did you get into it? Was it literally straight away, this is what I want to do, I'm making it happen? Or was it a bit of a, winding route?
The one word answer to that's narcissism. Like, I'd always been a fan, right? So it's like a long story, but when I was about 13, I got given my first ever laptop. And my cousin at the time, I don't know why I said at the time, he's still my cousin. But
so true.
I used to have a cousin. But no, so he showed me YouTube, and YouTube was just becoming a big thing. This is like 2005, 2006, like it was just blowing up and shit. And Russell Peters and Dave Chappelle were the two comedians that I saw like a clip of. I still remember the bits. So Russell Peters, somebody gonna get hurt real bad, like sketch, it was about 7-8 minutes long. And then Dave Chappelle's Sesame Street. And I just felt like I was just gobsmacked. I was just like, what is this? Like, they're saying stuff as one dude with a microphone on stage and people are losing their minds.
Yeah.
And then I used to spend hours. That was my favourite form of procrastination. So I'd just be on YouTube, just new stand-up, like Papa CJ. Like, that's where I first found Paul Chowdhury as well. All of this stuff. And then after that, like, I got a little bit older, and the first gig I ever went to was Jimmy Carr at the Hexagon in Reading. And then being there live was even crazier. So I just started going to gigs and stuff. And then at uni, I think I started realising, I was like, I think I'm funny.
Yeah.
So I used to like roast people a lot at like pre-drinks and stuff. We'd hang out and there's that cliche of like banter.
Yeah.
But I think even then I was like doing bits. And I was just like, okay, cool. I might have something here. And then I just like went for it. So yeah, so that's just, and then afterwards I just started like going to live stand up.
Yeah.
When I moved to London. And then I just ran away with it. I was just like, fuck it, I want to do it. So I did one gig when I was at uni.
Where did you go to uni?
I went to Brunel.
Where's that?
Uxbridge.
Oh.
Yeah.
I went to Cardiff. Bit dead.
That again, like, reconnect with your white roots. So you did
in Wales.
You did the two things.
Yeah.
You just like, I'm gonna go to the mecca of white people.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go to my ancestral home on my dad's side as well.
Yeah.
Cardiff is the whitest place I've ever been to.
Oh God, I don't want to go back there. Carry on. I'm sorry to anyone listening that's Welsh or loves Cardiff. It's nothing against you.
I told you, I'm gonna get you cancelled.
No, you are. That's it. That's what's happening here. Continue.
Yeah. So. And the first gig was a disaster. I had a terrible time. Like, it was this pub in Ickenham by uni.
Yeah.
And 25% of the audience were dogs.
What?
Yeah, there was 6 people and 2 dogs in a room.
Right.
I went up, signed up at the bar. First guy goes up, does a song. I was like, that wasn't funny. I was like,
song?
I was like, I'm absolutely going to storm this.
Right.
Go up. I'm second on, go up, do my shit. Nobody laughs. Even the dogs look bored.
Oh, God.
I come off and the bartender apologises. He's like, sorry, mate. He's like, I should have said this was a music open mic night.
No.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
He gives me a free drink. I don't even take a sip. I just walk out and I don't do stand-up again for... I think that was about 4 years.
No, really?
That must have been 2014. I didn't start again until March 2018.
Right.
Yeah.
That's crazy I actually want to talk about the mental health side of things when it comes to that. But I I can't believe you did stand up as an open mic night, which is essentially just for singing.
Man,
you've done it all. You have.
I still remember that. That's not even the worst gig I've ever done. I did a gig yesterday. No, was it yesterday? What day is it? Saturday.
Oh,
I did a gig on Thursday. So we're recording this on a Saturday, right?
Yeah, we are.
Thursday. I did a gig on Thursday. 100 people at a singles night.
Okay.
And they did not quieten down.
Oh, they didn't. So they were just speaking over you the whole time?
They spoke over me, but not in like hushed whispers or anything.
Really
like
loud.
A normal thing. And I've got to a point now where I know there's only one instance that you won't get paid. And that is if you don't do your time.
Right.
So I was meant to do 10 minutes and I had a phone out. Right? I was just counting that. I was just talking absolute nonsense. They weren't listening. Nobody was listening.
You know what?
They were there to fuck.
Well, exactly. When you initially said that, I was like, that's a really cool idea, doing stand-up at like a what do we call it, singles night. But actually, no, because they're there to like talk, get to know each other, do some snogging, not get to know each other, just snog, not listen to you.
It was like being around a bunch of coked up, horny, early 20s people. I can't imagine a worse group for stand-up.
Yeah.
They did not give a flying fuck I was there. And they'd done so much coke, they didn't even have any empathy.
Oh, yeah. No. It's all about me. It's all about me. Because,
Man, it was wild. And then I did my 10. Mid-sentence, I turned off the microphone and I walked off. As soon as I hit the 10. And I was just like, this is just...
So even now, like after you've been doing it for quite a while and like you're doing really well at it, even now you have shitty gigs where you're just like, okay, that was crap.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
The only difference is that it don't affect you as much.
Yeah.
So it's like on stage, as soon as I realised this is going to be an awful gig, my first punchline was a banger as well, and nobody gave me any because they weren't listening.
Yeah.
I was just like, if you listen, that was the funniest thing you will ever fucking hear
in your life.
Yeah, and nobody gave a shit.
What was it?
So they were set up. It's not going to be as funny if I have to describe it, but they were set up on 3 really long tables.
Yeah.
With ornate centerpieces and big ass candles.
Yeah.
Dimly lit room with chandeliers and shit, right?
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is such a nice place. This kind of reminds me of Hogwarts and Euphoria.
I was thinking when you were describing it, I thought that.
I was like, other than the sorting hat, you guys are just in the toilets doing cocaine. Right? And that's where you find out who you actually belong to. Bam. And I went off on a whole thing. Tangent.
Yeah.
I was like, this is fucking gold. And I was like, you lot just want to be fingered. That is it. I was like, I just need to go. The men and women. I was just like, I just need to leave.
Yeah.
Did my 10. This really nice lady at the door that was working the door.
Yeah.
She was just like, mate. She was like, well done, you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I was like, why are you apologising? I was like, you're going to have to kick him out at the end of the night.
Yeah.
I was like, you just haven't got to the shit part of your
You seem to have
there.
a history with like people that work at the place you're doing stand-up apologising to you. It's like a thing. It's like a thing for you now, you know?
That is so true.
With your family and stuff like that, I guess like a lot of the time in South Asian cultures, the stereotype is that like, you know, our families, our aunties, our uncles, whoever wants to chip in, wants us to do like a certain career, doesn't want us to go down the creative route, maybe wants us to have that like stability or, you know, be a dentist or whatever. How are your family about supporting your choice to be a comedian?
It's a hard one. I don't think they're like super supportive, but they're not. I think I made my peace with it. So they're not supportive, but I think I made my peace with it early doors. Which is just like, I think it's only recently when I started making some money from it. Yeah. That I think my mum stopped convincing me to give it up. Mm-hmm. So I used to like go out for gigs and stuff. You'll be going to the arse end of nowhere for no money after a full work day. And every time I used to leave, my mum used to say, she was just like, when are you just going to pack it in? And I'm like,
so deep.
That is the word, and it was even after a gig, right? It's like you've got like a 3-hour drive to the arse end of nowhere. With those words just ringing in your ears. And then I think early on I was just like, fuck it, I'm just going to switch it off, Like, I'm just not going to pay any attention to it. And the first time I did TV, I could hear her replaying the recording in the other room.
Oh, yeah.
Like, over and over. And I was just like, oh, cool. So she actually likes it when she has something to brag to her friends about.
It's exactly that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
Yeah. And then now it's just like now I think they kind of see that actually I'm not actually shit.
Yeah. I think that's the thing, isn't it? And I've had this conversation with quite a few like South Asian people about when they're doing something that's a bit different. And then, like, it wasn't until they could see that I was actually successful or making money or other people were saying I was good that they were like, oh, okay, you can carry on now.
The thing that helped me was seeing it from their point of view. So they moved over in the 70s, 80s, 90s, whatever. And they were living hand to mouth.
Yeah, yeah.
Right? So their whole thing was just like, bro, we can't do anything for enjoyment, right? Everything's being saved, scrimped away to get established somewhere. And I don't think they've grown out. A lot of Asian parents haven't grown out of that mindset.
Yeah.
Because it was so traumatic and like shit. And my parents still, to this day, do not spend any money on anything that's not an essential.
Right, yeah.
And I find that so weird. I'm just like, we're like established, like,
yeah.
you know, we're all okay. Like, I'll buy a coffee and they'll be like, that's £3.25, bro. I'm like, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
And they haven't, it's that famine sort of mindset, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And I think it's also that need for, you know, them not having stability their whole life and them having to like really, really work to like even just get by, not wanting that for you and being like, we want you to establish like security, you know, and that's why, so going into the creative industry where there's not security, I get it, you know, but it's just, yeah, it's a difficult one, but I'm glad that you've sort of managed to detach from that, because I sometimes have to do that as well. I'm like, you're not going to change, so I'm just going to have to change my thought process around it.
Yeah, I think the thing to hammer home as well is it's not malicious.
No.
Like, it's just, I think we're softer having grown up in a different environment to them.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know about you, but everything when we were at school and shit was all about feelings and stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas in the house, it wasn't. It was just like, no, you work, you be successful, that's what you do.
Yeah, yeah.
And then at school, it was all like, oh my God, feelings. And all the white kids were just like, oh my God, like my mom, they said I didn't have to come to school because I was sad. And it's like, okay, mine said they'll beat me up if I don't go in. No, but it's true, innit? Like,
yeah, it's so true.
And it was never out of malicious intent or anything. They always just want what's best for you, but they're not all knowing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. This is like a good segue into talking about the mental health side of things. But first, we're going to get your first tune on. You're going to sing for us.
Good, excellent. Voice of an angel. An angel from Bradford, but a voice of an angel.
You're from Bradford?
No, it was just shitting on Bradford. It's my favourite sport.
I really want to go to Bradford.
Why?
Well, because I just feel like I'd feel maybe a little bit at home.
Your ex definitely was not the problem. Like, I'm sorry. You try to run him over, you want to go to Bradford. Like, what is wrong with you?
So, honestly, so many things.
Yeah.
I've been having therapy for years and I'm still like this.
As soon as I heard the Bradford thing, I can imagine. Yeah.
But Zayn Malik's from Bradford and he is disturbed, but he's handsome and disturbed.
See? You the problem.
Yeah. So each guest I get to bring on 2 songs, and I would like you to introduce your first song, which is the more brown one.
I mean, both Sidhu Moosewala and Nipsey Hussle are both technically brown.
Which one do you feel is more brown?
Fuck.
They are big tunes, by the way. I had not heard them before.
So 295 by Sidhu Moosewala.
Yeah.
Obviously, Sidhu passed away recently. 295 is a conversation that he wrote. So 295, I don't know how much you know about this, but a 295 charge in India is a criminal charge that you get for hurting religious sentiment. So it's quite a draconian law. Right?
Okay.
So he got charged with violating that law after he released a song. And then this song, 295, is about that. So it says from the point of view of his dad talking to him and giving him advice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great little story behind the song.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I love Sidhu's work, anyways. I think he's got that. He had the SYL track as well. Both like quite meaty tracks. But this one I love it because it's just like his dad giving him advice about not letting it get to him and looking past people's motives and why they're doing what they're doing.
Well, let's give it a little play, shall we? I didn't know that about the 295 like law.
Oh yeah, it's mad draconian. So it's like basically you can get charged. You could get a 295 charge for almost anything.
Anything, yeah.
Yeah, if you make a film. Like recently, they've been doing it where it's like in Bollywood, you can't depict a Hindu and a Muslim couple.
What?
Yeah.
Huh?
Where the guy is Muslim and the woman's Hindu.
That is mental.
You can get a 295 charge for that.
Really? And it's so funny because also, like, for example, one of the biggest actors in Bollywood, Shah Rukh Khan, he's Muslim and he always plays a Hindu.
Yeah.
Bloody bonkers.
You can't do that.
Probably did the accent wrong. Probably someone listening in India.
Innit? That felt like a hate crime. Like, I felt like that came from the white side of you again.
Definitely. I feel like you've got me. You've unpacked me.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to talk about the mental health side of things when it comes to being a comedian.
Yeah.
Average, you've sort of mentioned that growing up, like with your family and stuff, that sort of thing of don't be sad, you can't be sad, get on with it, I'm gonna slap you if you don't go to school if you're feeling sad. But in terms of comedy, obviously there's a lot of self-deprecating humor, I feel like, that happens in comedy that comes out of like, oh, this shit thing happened to me, I'm gonna make a joke out of it, but actually it's quite sad. How is your mental health generally?
Whoa. There is nothing private on this podcast, is there? How suicidal are you, like, right now? No, I think every person has some form of, like, mental health issue.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody does. I had about a depression.
Mm-hmm.
I went through this, like, really bad breakup and shit, and I got diagnosed with depression and anxiety. Went to therapy.
Yeah.
And I've been fine since. Now, obviously, I still have emotions. So I feel sad sometimes, etc. But I think you get older and then all of a sudden that it almost matters less.
Your feelings?
Yeah, I think you get better at dealing with them. So it becomes less So it becomes less debilitating. So it's like, if I now feel depressed, I'll be like, oh shit, I feel depressed. Cool.
Will you do anything about it?
Yeah, so I've got like some forms of self-care. Going to the gym really helps me.
Yeah.
Right, working out really helps me. Music, food, and then I'm better now at going out as well.
When you like feel like low rather than like hibernating.
Yeah, exactly. Rather than like creating like a depression pit, I'm better at hitting someone up or even just by myself.
Yeah.
Going out.
Yeah.
Whether it's for a walk, food, whatever, seeing a couple of friends, whatever.
Yeah.
I think I'm better at that now.
Yeah, I think it's really important, and I think like you're right about age and getting able to deal with that stuff, because I don't think it disappears. You just handle it in a bit different way because you know you've been there before and you've got through it, so you can sort of get through it again.
Yeah.
But in comedy, why do you think a lot of comedians do struggle with their mental health? Because it seems to be like a thing, and it's not a secret either.
I think it's a two-way relationship. So I think comedians inherently have something. I was going to say wrong. Maybe wrong's the wrong word.
Well, that's fine.
Maybe it's something different that draws you to comedy in the first place. Like I said, I will drive 3 hours for barely break-even money.
Yeah.
To entertain someone, and I'll be very happy.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So I think that's not normal. Like, people will be like, wow.
I think it's normal, but for me personally, because when I know how it is to be passionate about something, and you're passionate about it, so you will drive 3 hours.
Yeah, but I feel like it's something that I always relate it to, like a really weird kink. Like, you know, where it's fine, like everybody's consented to it, it's fine, but it's also kind of still weird.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes, it is weird. It is. When you put it like that, it's weird.
Yeah, exactly. It's harmless, but it's weird. It's like a foot fetish, basically. It's like weird as shit, but nobody's really getting hurt.
Can I just interject that with one thing? You know, I'm famous on Wiki Feet.
That is the most disgusting thing that you've said so far.
I've said a lot of disgusting things, apparently.
Yeah, all that stuff you said about gay people was wild, but this is the worst.
Stop it. Yeah, I'm foot famous on Wiki Feet. I'm not gonna lie. A guy, his name was like Roshan Sakit something.
Yeah.
Also wrote an article about me, about my feet. And he said they were toe curlingly elegant.
This just gets worse, bro.
They're really not toe curlingly elegant.
Maybe comedy's not weird. Like, if that's somebody's, like, if that's how somebody passes the time, writing foot blogs, maybe comedy's not weird.
Anyway, sorry, back to the mental health
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah, I know. Yeah, so I think you get better at managing it, and I do think it's something that you have to devote time to.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where therapy came in. So now, even with friends and stuff, like, I'll always encourage them to go to therapy, because sometimes it's a case of, it's like going to the gym. If you fall out of it, there's going to be consequences.
Yeah.
And like everything, it's just about, it's almost like time management.
Yeah.
If you don't practice time management, you're never going to be better at time management.
No, of course not.
So if you practice self-care and like making sure you can identify the signs early, you get better at it.
It's like a muscle.
Yeah.
So before we get into playing your final tune, and I want to talk a little bit about your podcast as well, this is a long-winded way of asking this question, but I'm going to do it anyway. So when I was stalking your Instagram, one of your pinned posts is about this joke you make about East London essentially being like its own religion, and it's essentially it's South Asia, because you've got halal shops for Muslims, you say then they've got people in East London have got their own language like Hindus, and people carry knives like Sikhs. And I thought this was really interesting, because I was like, this is kind of making South Asian culture that maybe non-South Asians or even South Asians don't necessarily feel that they get or understand and feel like isolated from, making it relevant to like more people, right? So how do you make sure that you're not isolating non-South Asians in your stand-up?
Funny's just funny, innit? And like, no, it's true. It's true. So I do a lot of South Asian gigs, quote unquote.
Yeah. Right,
that theme South Asian. White people will come to them by themselves and just love it.
My friend Evie was the one that told me about you, and she's a white person.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Evie.
Shout out to Evie.
Have I met her?
No.
Okay, good. What the fuck she even saying? Yeah, no, I think it's comedy. Comedy is comedy, right? And I think part of it is relaying your experience to an audience.
Yeah.
And the background, whether it's shared experience or it's something different, as long as that audience finds it funny, it don't matter. Like, you just put something onto a joke that I did, right?
Yeah.
So the East London joke.
Yeah.
I find it really interesting that you think there's the really clever subtext behind that joke.
Yeah, I do.
That joke was something I said on stage.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought about
it.
Yeah, I never thought about that I was making some point. Nah, I just say funny shit.
Like, I'm just gassing you up, basically. Yeah, like, you're really good at, like, you know, communicating with everyone and helping everyone to feel included.
Yeah, but I think if you're in an audience, you're fine. It don't matter what your backgrounds are, etc. And like, there's another joke that I open with a lot, and it's about people feeling uncomfortable when you start talking about race. And you see it in like middle England, like, you know, like Tory voting, UKIP voting England. They won't laugh at some stuff because they don't want to validate or share in that experience of race. Liberal people in East London, Hackney, won't laugh at it because they don't want to be offensive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, it's just jokes.
Yeah.
Like, you can laugh at anything that a comedian says on stage.
But I think that's where it's different. It's like, it's a comedian saying on stage, you're allowed in that context.
Yeah.
But then it almost feels like, oh, if you laugh in another context, then it's like, oh God, I said the wrong thing. Oh shit, someone's going to think I'm racist, or someone's going to think I'm like classist or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
It's just like, just don't overthink it. It's just comedy, innit?
Well, that's bloody life, isn't it? Don't overthink it. And I'm sitting here overthinking everything all the time.
Like that joke you made about your dick, that was that about Marxism and the patriarchy? No, bro, it's just got a funny dick.
And like, do you think because he robs mayonnaise, like, does that make him like a cheater?
Probably. Like, that sounds like a scumbag. The dude's a scumbag.
You have a podcast.
Yeah.
This is why you're trying to corrupt my podcast.
Yeah.
Because you don't want anyone to listen to it, because you want them to all listen to Samosa Chats, your podcast.
No, I actually want your podcast to fail because of all that stuff you said about gay people.
Can I just say I didn't say anything about gay people?
I'm sure if there was a hot mic in the room, it would have caught it.
Yeah,
We'll do an investigation.
100%. If I could go red or blush, I would probably, but I can't.
You can, surprise. Yeah.
So please, can you just tell us a little bit about Samosa Chats? And I know this is maybe like you can't really answer this question, but have you had a favourite guest? And I think you probably will.
Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah.
So I've got 2 unreleased episodes. Right. So I started doing the podcast. It was going really well, and then I stopped doing it because I stopped enjoying making it.
Yeah.
I didn't like what it was becoming, right? I was essentially just getting like semi-famous people on and just like gassing them up, and I didn't want to do that.
No.
What I wanted to do was I actually wanted to talk to interesting people.
Like me?
Yeah. Wiki feet. I've never met somebody who has a wiki feet profile or whatever. So I've got 2 unreleased episodes. One, have you seen Wild Wild Country on Netflix?
No.
Oh, mate, watch it. So it's about a cult that moved from India to Ohio, recruited a bunch of white people. Like, they were literally like 98% white or some shit, right?
Yeah.
People from all over the world. It was massive. It was like 100,000 strong. And the local government, the state government wanted to stop that cult. So they started an investigation, etc. And the matriarch of that cult was this woman called Sheila.
Right, nice.
She got convicted of domestic terrorism charges for poisoning an entire town with food poisoning.
Right.
Right. So they wouldn't make it to the ballot papers.
Right.
So they could swing an election in their favour.
Okay.
And now, for the record, Sheila denies this, that she didn't do it, and it was trumped up charges. Sheila. My viewpoint is, if she did it, she's a fucking badass, bro. So she's one of the unreleased episodes, and for season 3, that'll be the first episode that goes out. And she's hands down the most interesting person I've ever spoken to.
Oh, you got her?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hands down the most interesting person I've ever spoken to.
So she's your fave?
There's a tie. There's a few. I had Sahara Night on.
So I've got this written down that her mum called in, and she was on an adult TV channel, and her mum called in.
Yeah, so Sahara is like a really famous Indian Muslim porn star. Right? Wiki feet, future
Indian
careers.
Muslim.
There we go.
Like me, I'm Indian Muslim.
Yeah, there's parallels. And she's really interesting because she's been in the adult industry for like 25 years.
Yeah.
Right? And the stories she has, I'm astounded.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like, wow. So she was really interesting. And she's actually a really nice person as well. And then I had a dominatrix on. So a friend of mine is a dominatrix. So she's Pakistani, and she worked as a dominatrix for years.
I want to meet her.
So
let's go for a drink.
Well, the only thing is, no, so she doesn't do that work anymore. Yeah. Fucking Ishan. He does that.
Fucking, I don't know. He's getting a lot of airtime.
So yeah, so she's really cool. Her story is actually wilder than Sahara's. Like, there was a dude, and it's in the episode, but there was a dude that used to pay her, I think it was like 300 quid or something, right? He'd leave his door unlocked. She'd walk in, and he'd be half naked, strapped to a chair, with 3 lemon meringue pies, I think, in front of him. And over 3 hours, right, all she would do, no sexual contact with him, all she would do is just humiliate him and shove those pies in his face.
Oh my God.
I was like, that is the best way I've ever heard somebody make a living. No jerking him off.
Nothing.
No nothing. Just shove pies in his face.
What?
And she used to get paid like
lemon meringue as well.
Yeah, there was something about it.
Niche.
I need to rewatch this episode, but there was something about they were always lemon meringue.
Wow, that is crazy. Some people have. You think I'm disturbed, right? That is problematic. Not her, him.
I personally know a couple, right, in the community. They're in their 40s.
Okay.
Right, I won't go into too many specifics.
No, okay, fine.
Super respectful.
Yeah.
Everything's like archetype of 2 kids, middle-aged, on the surface, very deeply religious.
Yeah.
Couple, pillars of the community. And I know for a fact they're swingers.
Right.
Yeah.
So do not underestimate South Asians.
Yeah, I'm interested you got that from it.
I love
Fair play, yeah.
Keep swinging.
Yeah, keep swinging. Yeah.
Your final song then you've got for us today is what?
It's Nipsey Hussle. It's there was a lot to choose from. So the album's called Victory Lap. So I went with the title song off of that. So that album is like, I find it's probably one of the most inspiring pieces of work, because it's his debut album, right? But he got really famous off mixtapes, and he took a totally different route from what everybody else in the industry was doing. So he was independent till really late on. He had a really loyal fan following, etc. And then that album from start to finish, I don't think there's one skippable song. So I went with Victory Lap on that, and it's all about how this is his victory lap because he's now won. But yeah, so I think that album and this song in general just like did a lot to like shape my own principles and values.
Perfect. Well, here it is. Last thing now.
Yeah.
Because I've chewed your ear off for long enough. This is again, another question I like to ask all guests. What is something about you that would be surprising considering you're a South Asian person? You know, like, oh, you're South Asian, you do that? And I mean, to be honest, I think, like, you know, just general conversation has revealed mostly your surprisingness as a South Asian. But if you could just give me one.
I know, it's hard, isn't it?
I also didn't even share any of these questions with you beforehand.
Yeah, I know.
Completely no idea.
So, I've got a Wiki Preet feet profile. No,
Don't take that away from me.
Yeah, like everybody has one, mate.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
I'm not sure. That's a very. I think I'm super liberal.
Right.
That's what I would say.
Mm-hmm.
So, a lot of, I don't know, like I guess people that are listening, I'm like 6'2", big boy. Like I used to box, etc. All of that stuff. And I think I've shed a lot of the, oh, bro, you can't do this here in life here. You can't fucking do that, bro. Like, what, you're gay? Nah, bro.
Yeah.
You can't be trans, bro. Like, that's haram, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I've shed all of that, I think. And
Got rid of it.
yeah, and I think a lot of people are surprised by that.
Mm-hmm.
Live your life the way you want to do. That's like my ethos.
And walk from your hips.
And walk from my hips. Yeah.
That's something that it would be a surprise about people, that you walk from your hips now.
I also realise, you say that, I realise my hips don't lie.
Oh,
like, they don't. Shakira's hips didn't lie from another point of view.
Preet's hips don't lie.
Painfully straight.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Straight and narrow hips.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Ishan.
Every fucking time, bro.
Thank you so much, Preet, for coming on the podcast. Honestly, it was a laugh. Like, you've lived up to expectations and more, even though you've insulted me the whole time and told me that my taste in men is atrocious.
There's facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is South Asian Overground, and that was Preet Singh.